Everybody, and welcome to Tuesday Training. I hope you're having a fantastic week. As always,
we are live from Austin, Texas, right here at Insurance Syndicate headquarters. And man, we have a great show for you.
Good morning. Good morning. What is happening, man? It's Tuesday. Tuesday, a couple minutes after 9. You know what time it is. It's time for a little Tuesday Training. Super excited. We got an awesome show for you guys today. And we are going to dive into it here fairly quickly. So buckle up. Man, it's been a fun time. I've been on the road a little bit, was up at 8% Nation having fun with some friends, my good buddy Cody Askins, a bunch of other folks. One of his best shows ever, just going to say it, easily one of the best 8% I've ever been to. I think I've been to like 7, not include all the road shows and whatever. So next time, maybe don't miss it. I don't know. But as always, this show is brought to you by DFY CRM, my CRM of choice. And I was thinking about this also in regards to that CRM. You guys probably know because I say it all the time. Both Eric Fierro and Tim James partnered up and run that show. If you're not following Tim James on Facebook, you might want to reconsider. He does a bunch of fantastic trainings regarding CRMs, regarding AI, that I would say are extremely useful. Some of them could be little tasks just to help you with reminders on how you can maybe use AI to set tasks for you or your VAs when certain trigger events happen. Like all kinds of good stuff like that. I would highly, highly recommend you give him a follow and check out his trainings as well. You can find him here in the Insurance Syndicate. Tim James, look him up. But with that said, I want to hit on a little bit of a, I guess maybe a sensitive topic. This might light a few people up. We'll see. I don't know. But as you already know, unless you've been living under a rock somewhere, the stats are that about 92% of insurance agents fail in their first usually 2 years. And about 8% of them don't. 8% of us don't. And there's a lot of reasons why, but I'm of the opinion, and I think my buddy that I'm about to bring on is also of the opinion, that a big reason that agents don't succeed, or a large percentage of agents don't succeed, is because they sit on their tuchus and they hem and haw and they get analysis paralysis and they think about all the things they probably should be doing or want to be doing, but they don't actually do them, right? And that's why the title of this episode is that information does not pay commissions, but execution does. Now, I want to tell you a quick story before I bring my buddy on here. But not too long ago, and let me rephrase it this way. Some of you guys that know me, you know I've been in the business a long time, 22 years. I've kind of made a career of it, so to speak, right? I've done everything from being a captive agent, banging on doors for Family Heritage, to a product marketer, independent agent, wholesale distributor, and now I run my own little hybrid IMO for the last couple of years, partnered up with my wife. But I've always evolved in the business in some way, and I've recently discovered, or at least recently thought that, hey, it's time for another evolution of Tony Merwin and to continue to grow our business and expand it. So I decided, what is the natural evolution for a guy that's been in the senior market, banging down Medicare for 22 years, Medicare and final expense, is probably to get into annuities and advanced market products. And I'm like, yeah, in my brain, I'm like, yes, that is definitely what I need to do. And so I made a decision, number one, to go get the information, number two, then to execute on that information. So the first thing that it is, I called my good buddy Pete Fournier, who we're about to bring on the show, and I said, hey, man, I need some help. I'm going to do this, but I need a little bit of direction. I need just a little bit of nod in the right direction so I understand what I'm doing, and I can then just execute on it. And then now that's where we're at. So I did pay Pete a little bit of money, nothing exorbitant, and I got some extremely valuable training from him for 2 days. 2 solid 12-hour days. Like, this wasn't any bullshit like, oh, come in and I'm just going to whiteboard a couple things, give you a packet of information, call you trained. Like, he actually brought people in his office for 12 solid hours. We spent a full 8-hour day training in his office, going over concepts, case studies, understanding just the nature of annuities, advanced market products, et cetera, and what some of the things we should and shouldn't do. And then we got to go watch him do his thing. He had 2 seminars that night after the training in his office. So we go and I sit and I watch him do the whole seminar, exactly what he's telling me to do. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'm in like Flynn. So as soon as I came back to the house back here in Austin, Texas, first thing I did is I just did pretty much exactly what Pete told me to do. I didn't question it. I didn't come up with any bullshit. I just started taking action. So that's the topic today. So we're going to get Pete on the show right now. What is up, my friend? How are you? Your microphone is muted there.
What's happening, brother? Great to see you.
It is great to see you. I hope you're doing fantastic out there in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Absolutely. Miss you already.
I miss you too. The only thing I didn't get to do while I was out there was go to the beach.
Yeah.
So Summit. September when I get back out there.
Hell yeah.
But listen, man, as I was saying, like I came out to your office, you gave me some info. You told me exactly what to do. I came back to the office. The very first thing I did was I called Jen. And you told me, you're like, hey, leading response, just call Jen and tell her to give me what I do or give you what I do. And I'm like, okay. And that's exactly what I did. I came back, put Jen Nicholson on the phone at leading response. I'm like, hey, my name's Tony. I'm in Austin. I'm going to start doing some annuity dinner seminars, yada, yada, yada. She's like, cool, great. What are you looking for? I'm like, just give me what Pete Fournier did. Just whatever he's doing, sign me up because I'm ready to go. And with that, I appreciate your tutelage and some of your direction there. I'm about to go slaughter this thing. My first event kicks off on the 17th and 18th.
Oh my God. This week?
No. Next month.
Oh, okay.
So the fastest I could find the location and get the mailers intact, that was the date. I was trying to get it done a little earlier, but it is what it is. I couldn't find a solid location that was available and applicable.
Still absolutely sick. I hope you're coming to the summit with like 3 million in the pipeline.
That's the goal, brother. That is the goal. So, and I'm going to talk about some of that today because I want to talk about because again, the title of this episode is Information Doesn't Pay Commissions, Execution Does. You can run around and go to all the events you want and sit and listen to shows like this. And hey, I'm not trying to discourage you from listening in. I appreciate it. But at some point, how much more information do you need? At some point, the crux of the situation is now on you to act and do something. So I want to talk to Pete a little bit about that. And then I've got kind of a step-by-step thing I'm going to go with you guys that'll help you kind of create an execution strategy so that when you get your next big idea, whatever it might be, you're like, let's go. And you don't just sit around hemming and hawing on it. So a couple of quick questions for you, Pete. Like, what do you think? Why do you think some agents or any person, but ultimately let's talk about insurance agents. Why do you think when they come up with an idea, they just sit on it and they don't actually take action? What's going on there?
The philosopher, the little baby philosopher in me thinks it stems from like school, right? You learn, and then you execute at the end of the semester for finals. That's your execution, right? Of all the shit that you learn, but it's constant learning. And the non-philosopher side of me, just being in the business 16 years, tells me that most people are inherently lazy and they don't actually want to do what they say that they would like to do, right? I would like to go make $1 million, but I don't want to do all the steps needed in order to do that. So they don't have belief in themselves, or their why is not big enough to actually formulate execution, because I think most people in general are just inherently lazy. I'm an inherently lazy human. If I could sit on the couch all day and play Call of Duty and eat bonbons and still be shredded and rich, I would. And that's the goal eventually, right? That's why I work so hard now. But I think it's two parts. I think it's ingrained in us that we're just like learners by nature, go to school for like 14, 15, 16 years mandatory. And then our execution is a couple tests every once in a while. And then most people are just lazy.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with you. I'm also very lazy, and I would be very happy just to sit on the couch and play chess or Call of Duty with you or whoever. I'm not much of a bonbon guy. I'll probably eat some Reese's Pieces or something else. But yeah. Absolutely. Now I know because a little birdie told me when I ran into a mutual friend of ours, Roy Snar. I was at SWAT this year and bumped into Roy Snar. And I mentioned to him that I was headed out to your place next to go learn, see your process on annuities. And he kind of looked at me. He's like, dude, I live in the same neighborhood you do. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, why didn't you just come see me? I'm like, well, me and Peter are like good friends and I see him regularly and we talk a lot. No offense to you, Roy. I like you too. You're a good dude, but you don't cross my path as often as Pete does. And me and Peter pals. So he invited me to come out and I said, yeah. And then he looks at me and says, well, who do you think taught Pete everything he knows? And so I mentioned that to you when I got out there and you're like, absolutely. I definitely went and got some information from Roy, but then you took that information and executed on it.
Yeah.
And you created a system that tell me if I'm wrong, but you created a process for you that delivers over $30 million a year in life and annuity premium.
Yep. 100%. Yeah. And like, I love Roy. He's a good buddy. He's been a great mentor, especially with some more complex cases. But like a quick story on me and Roy and why like most agents would never do this. And I think more because it's selfish, not lazy. I had a very complicated case with my own aunt. And I went to Roy and Garrett and I said, listen, I don't want to fuck up my aunt's life. Here's the situation. Here's what I'm thinking about doing. Can we just joint work the case like 50-50? And like I could just kind of watch and you can make sure I'm doing everything right, whatever. And that was like an $850,000 case. And most agents would say, well, I'm only getting 425 on my own aunt. Like this is a fucked up deal, Dude, I was glad to give it away. And we did probably 4 or 5 cases like that were very complex. We made a ton of money together. And then I was like, okay, I get it. Let's run with the bull. 1 seminar a month, every single month, 2 in March or 2 in November, because I don't like doing December. And boom, I'm on a brand new glorified hamster wheel. But I needed the knowledge and I was willing to pay for it handsomely. I think I paid technically 45, 50 grand for the knowledge in split commissions. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know if there's any math geniuses in the group here, but shouldn't take you too hard to figure out how much commissions come in for 33 million in annuities.
Yeah.
That is a fairly nice paycheck.
515 in life. I did do like 8 million in MIGAs, 22-ish million in FIAs. So the comp's a little skewed, but it's a decent paycheck.
Yeah. What are some of the excuses? You've worked with agents, about as long as I have for the most part. You got agents in your crew that you're still working with. What are some of the common excuses you hear from agents when they're like, when they get something that they say they want to do, or you ask them, hey, did you get that thing done yet? Or did you do that? Or how's that going? And then they come back and they tell you, oh, well, my dog got sick. I had to take him to the vet, or it was raining that day.
A lot of it has to deal with the expense, which we talked about up front, right? I think I mentioned it to you, but I mentioned it to almost everybody that comes in for training. It's not just the expense to get up here to train, but just know, like your first seminar is probably going to cost you $7 to $8 grand, right? We're not doing it in a library, steakhouse, right? Nice restaurant, wherever you want to do. It's going to be a pretty penny. So unless you have that, don't come. You know what I mean? Like, don't plan it. And still, people come, they absorb, and then they're like, yeah, I'll wait till next year to start. Because they don't believe in themselves. So they're not willing to swipe the credit card. Even though you and I know, math-wise, $100,000 rollover breaks you even. So what are we doing? What are we doing? But that's a big one. The other thing is, people want to know everything ahead of time, which is physically impossible. One, most people's brains can't handle that, especially as salespeople. We're not intellectuals for the most part. No offense, sales agents that are watching this, but we're executors. So for you to try to focus and absorb every scenario that I could possibly teach you, you're never going to be able to hold it in your head. And you're not going to see every scenario until you actually see it. So the fact that you want to learn, and then you'll be ready, you'll never be ready and you'll never execute. And the train has left the station at that point.
Agreed. I'm not really sure why, but it seems like a lot of people chase information in an effort to get confidence, right? Like, let me learn, because that's building up my confidence. But the truth is, no, action is what builds confidence. And when you take an action on something, especially when it goes at least a little bit your way, your confidence boosts up. Like, as I've been getting ready for this seminar, because I will say I've been preparing, like I couldn't get a date until the 17th, got it ready to go. There's a few other things I've been doing, taking action to build my confidence, to prepare myself so that I will win when I get there. But action is where we truly get confidence. And I said this at a conference a long time ago, that agents need to, and anybody, but agents especially, they need to set small goals that are easily attainable, not grossly easily attainable, but attainable. And then the more you get used to hitting those short goals over and over and over again, the more your confidence will build, and you won't have to feel like, oh, I need to know all the information first. And this is grossly true in Medicare. Like everything that Pete just said, I have to say this to every new agent in the Medicare space. Medicare is probably one of the deepest, if not deepest, learning curves in insurance. It is you could do Medicare for 10 years and still not over everything. It's so deep. So, I have to tell agents that, look, I can't teach you everything about Medicare to get you going. You're just going to have to get rolling with some of the fundamentals and basics. Start having conversations, bring those cases back to me. Let me help you work them until you get solid confidence where you feel good and you don't need me as much anymore. Because even if I did teach you everything there is to know about Medicare, there's a nuanced situation that you may not see for 10 years. And by the time you even see it, you're going to have forgotten about what I taught you anyway, and you're going to have to come back to me. So just get the fundamentals, get yourself ready, and get out there and just get to work.
100%. It's also the physicality of it. Tony's a great golfer. I learn from him every time we play, and we'll be playing at the summit. But if Tony tried to get on a Zoom call with me for an hour and a half and explain how to hit a draw with my 9-iron, unless I actually swing the fucking club, I will never be able to do that. So we can teach it till the cows come home, every annuity, every Medicare process, every life insurance process, etc. But unless you're sitting in front of a client, you're never going to figure it out. Absolutely.
That's a great analogy. And don't worry, I will never put you on a Zoom call for an hour and a half trying to teach you how to hit a 9-iron. You have another great example of this in your crew with Steve Burton. Same thing, because I've watched him kind of go through some of the process with you, and I saw pretty much the same thing. He went and got the information. He grabbed his confidence and went and created his seminar, started doing it. And then just the other day, I saw that he was like, hey, finally cracked $1 million for my first month. I think he did $1.5 million out of the seminar in business. Like, that's an easy, probably 70, 90 grand in his pocket. So yeah. That's evidence of, so you got to just do it.
It's just copy and paste. The best people, whether they're in the crew, like we got Steve Burton, Jay Stoll, Sam and Dan Gray came twice to training and then prepaid for 6 seminars. Their first one was last night. So it's the people that I watch that are executing are writing 8, 9, $1 million a month. And then I got other people that I check in with them and they're not even with ATIG. And I'm like, hey man, did you do your first one yet? Things, that, the other. The system just works. And you don't have to think. You just got to do. Say the words, do the presentation, book them. Easy peasy.
That's right, man. Market rewards action. It does not reward intention.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go through a checklist that I created. Cool. It's kind of an execution checklist. We can use some of this, and then we'll talk about your event as we get closer to the end of the show. Because if you guys haven't heard, Pete is about to throw a fat event out in Wilmington, the ATIG Summit, ATIG meaning All Things Insurance Group. Besides myself and Pete, the Mr. Brad Lee is going to be there dropping bombs, of course. But I want to give you guys kind of a 7-day execution rule, and then Pete can help me fill in the gaps as we chat about this. But number one, man, and if you're paying attention to this episode, you should be, write this shit down. Grab you a pen and paper and write this down. But step one is always the same step. Find an idea, identify an idea that you think is worth acting on, right? Don't just go to a training. Don't just listen to a show like this. Don't just learn something and not act on something. Don't pick 10 ideas. Pick one that is worth it. So with that said, I want to ask Pete, is there one idea in your business right now that you're working to act on? Is there something new that you're doing?
Yeah, creating a and this is not reinventing
your event for one.
Well, the event is definitely one. That's a first big one. I've done these little mastermind things, having 150, 200 people in the room. That's a first for me. It's fun and scary at the same time. But I had the idea in March, and by April, I booked the hotel. So just do. And another one that's maybe not so large if you don't have 100 grand plus to throw on an event. We started like kind of our own BNI group locally, because we do every line of insurance: life, P&C, Medicare, annuities, group benefits. We do a ton in the group space. So we got CPAs in it, lawyers in it, construction people in it, some politicians in it. And it's just getting together, chatting once a month, nothing crazy, go out to lunch, go out to dinner, whatever, and just share business and knowledge collectively. And started doing that last month. I've done so much countrywide. People forget about like their own backyard, and there's millions and millions of dollars sitting there.
I was thinking countrywide mortgages. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I got lost. Sorry. Yeah.
So get out of your house.
Get out of your house.
People.
I love it. Yeah. So number one, you got to come up with one good idea that you feel like is worth acting on. Step 2, define the revenue producing outcome that you want. This is where your SMART goals come in, right? You need to take the idea that you created and connect it to an achievable, measurable result. If you're not familiar, this is SMART goals. If you're not familiar with SMART goals, it has to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound, right? So a bad example would be like, oh, I want to do some seminars, or I need to work on seminars. A real example would be, I'm going to schedule one seminar in the next 30 days and get 10 appointments out of it. Like that would be a true SMART goal. So again, step 1, identify one idea worth acting on. Step 2, define a revenue producing outcome. So in regards to what you were just talking about, Pete, did you create a revenue producing outcome?
On the BNI group, we wanted 2 clients a month from it. I don't care what it is. I just want freebies going to the team. 2 a month, life, annuities, group, whatever it is, just for proof of concept. So this month we got 2. We're working on our 3rd. So that's nice. One funny thing though on the SMART goals is on my first seminar, I didn't do any of that shit because I'm an idiot and I got confidence like crazy, as Tony knows.
Yes, you do.
But I was like, I didn't plan anything. I didn't know if I was going to write 10 million or 50 grand. So I spent like 7,000-8,000, did my first one. I rolled 337 grand. It was two sales. And I was like, what an asshole. I can't believe I did this. I put this on, blah, blah, blah. I suck. Then I got my commission check. And I was like, wait a second. Let me run that back. So like, if you don't set a target for yourself, everything's negative. You know what I mean? So make sure you're doing that effectively.
100%. And I will give you my personal example here, right? My goal after I came back from Pete's office and doing these annuity seminars was, my original goal was I wanted to try to have it launched by mid to late July, right? Took me a little longer to find a location that was open and ready to go, but we found it. Talked to advertiser, and same thing, like getting all that coordinated. The prime target date to get it going was August 17th, whatever. We missed it by a couple dates, but we still got it nailed down. Second was like, all right, how many people do we want in the event? Now, the room that I found maxes out at 44 people. So I'm like, all right, let's make sure we can get 80 people there. So in order for me to do that, I had to call Jen back over to Leading Response and go, hey, how much mail do I need to send to this area to get 80 people? And she's like, well, you need to send that much mail. I'm like, all right, well, let's increase it. Let's send that much mail because I want 80 people. And the reason why I want 80 people is, again, I know that I'm probably not going to be as good in the seminar or post-seminar as my guy Pete here. So if I'm going to chase him as my rabbit, I'm going to have to work a little harder up front, or I'm just going to have to generate more leads up front. so that I can shittily work through them until I get very good at this, because I do have a SMART goal. And that SMART goal is at least 2 million in the pipeline by the end of this year. Like I said, by the time I go to ATIG, because I know a couple of things. At least I'm pretty confident in a couple of things. I'm not going to be able to get the cadence up to 1 a month fast. It's going to take me a few months before I can get it to 1 a month, right? Because I'm about to land on a shitload of leads. I'm going to have to call Pete back, as well as some other mentors, be like, hey, help me co-op some of these cases so I can get through this. But then once I get that down, then yes, the target cadence is once a month. Boom, do a seminar once a month. And same thing, I ain't doing them in December either, because I like to go hang out in Colombia in December. Yeah. But I did create I created a real metric goal that I'm shooting, and that is $15 million in my first 12 months. Technically, yeah, I should say 18 months, but yeah, we're going to keep it at 12 months. But we're shooting for 15 milli. So that is a specific, measurable, attainable, right, reachable, and trackable goal that we've got. So you have to do that when you're creating an action plan or whatever. So again, number one, identify an idea worth working on. Number two, define the revenue producing outcome. Number three is create the minimum viable version of what you're trying to get done, right? So again, we kind of talked about this when we were talking about training people. Like Pete can't train you everything on annuities on day one. I can't train you on everything there is to know about Medicare, even in a week's time. So I have to train you at the minimum viable version that can get you into a house where you can actually have conversations. And I think this is the spot where you as an agent can beat analysis paralysis. Create the minimum version, right? And that might be something simple. Like if we're talking seminars, that's pick a topic, pick a date, pick a venue, create the invite people, and go. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to exist.
I love that. And like from a metric standpoint, my agents joke with me a lot, and they say, if I could be half as good as you, with half the case size, with half the participants, they'll still make $400,000 or $500,000.
I'm still gonna kill it.
So it doesn't, like, you could, that's I think we break it down to 2.5 sales over a 2-night event. You're profitable about $250,000 if you're doing that every single month, once a month. And that's on top of your business. The other thing that Tony's doing a great job of, that I've tried to do a great job of, and some of the other people that we're friends with in the industry do well on, is you're not cannibalizing your existing business by adding this. I think too many people get analysis paralysis because they're like, well, I'm doing this, I should do this instead. That's an awful word. Do it in addition to. It's just a revenue add-on. It's not cannibalizing what you're doing.
Correct. I'm already talking to people that are in this space. Like I'm already talking to 60-plus-year-olds. That's what I've been doing for the last 22 years. Like I've talked about this a bunch. When I first got into business, they were all super sweet. They'd call me son, bake me cookies, right? Now they just call me darling and send me nudes. But I've been talking to them for a long time. Now I'm just adding more products to the same people, right? It's basically cross-marketing. And we've talked about this many times on the show. Like if you're talking to people in the Medicare space and all you're selling them is the Medicare product and that's it, like you're leaving a ton of money on the table. So it's the same concept. Like it's just like adding final expense to my Medicare practice or Medicare to my final expense practice, whatever. I'm just adding annuities, right? And advanced market life products to my Medicare practice that I've already got. I already have a book of hundreds of clients that we can work with that are in our space that are likely very qualified. And then 2, we're going to go drum up some new ones. So again, yeah, perfectly said, not cannibalizing it. We're not switching gears. This isn't a pivot point where we drop the other stuff and just go this direction. This is an expansion to use what we already have and make it even better and blossom it. 100%. Well said. So number 3, again, was create a minimum viable version, right? Number 4, put it on the calendar immediately. I didn't wait and hem and haw about when do I want to do this. Like I got back and the very first thing I did was I put a list together of all of the restaurants that I thought were prospects that would be worth calling and finding out, do they have a room? How much does it cost? What's the menu look like? What are the availability dates for it? And I got through about 5 before I found my location. And I really feel like I lucked out and I've got something that's going to turn into a very strategic partnership. But that was the first thing I did. Second thing I did was I did exactly what Pete told me to do. And I called Jen Nicholson over at Leading Response and said, hey, give me what Pete's got. Whatever he's having, I'm having, which is the same thing I did when I stood in line behind him in Jersey to get a Philly cheesesteak. He ordered it. I didn't ask any questions. I'm like, just give me whatever this dude's ordering because I know it's good.
100%.
But you have to put it on the calendar immediately because that's part of your SMART goal, right? Remember, your SMART goal means that it is specific, right? I'm going to do one seminar in the next 30 days and get 10 appointments. It's achievable. I can do that, or it's measurable is the M, right? Measurable. I can see it. It's achievable. I can get that done. It's relevant to what I'm trying to accomplish, but more importantly, it's time bound. So when you're ready, like you have to put it on the calendar and commit to that 100%. When you were coming up with the idea for ATIG Summit, when did you put it on the calendar?
March 12th.
You just said that was right when you kind of came up with the idea to throw it.
Yeah, the idea was like last week of February, first week of March. I had a couple people in town and we were discussing events and stuff. And I was like, I think I want to do one. Yeah, we're going to do one. And they were like, okay. And I was like, sick. I don't know where to start, but let's start with the event space. So we looked at 3, picked one. It's the nicest hotel in town. So that made it easy. I'm a bougie bitch. Let's do the nicest one and see what happens. And then we set the date. We were like, if people want to stay through Labor Day and make a vacation out of it, it's a nice time. Plus it kicks off your Q4 really well. And then all the other details came from the process. Like you set the time, you set the date, you pick the location. And it's like, how do we get people there? Well, who cares? We'll run ads. We'll reach out. I'll cold call people. It doesn't matter. Like as long as it's on the calendar, you have a time frame, and that's your deadline to fill the room. Everything else will come from the process.
Absolutely. When you're planning something like this, where there's a new activity, an event, whatever, new seminar, whatever it might be, do you ever in your head to help you create the confidence, right? A little bit of false confidence, maybe, to go ahead and follow through with it, back yourself into a corner and do it. Do you ever think about, hey, what's the worst that could happen? Do you ever take a moment to, because a lot of times we imagine what the worst that can happen is, which is never what could really happen, right? But you have to kind of logic that out. Like, what is the worst that really could happen?
Yep.
Like, what is the worst that could happen? I spend $10,000 putting a seminar together and the building burns down before I get there. But that's not likely. Like that's a sick imagined scenario. Like what is really the worst that could happen is I guess I go in there and I vomit on myself and I don't get any leads. And I'm like, well, that was a learning experience.
Yeah. Right? The worst is never terrible. Nothing's going to kill you or injure you or bankrupt you. Like if Correct. You're making decisions that would take down your company, then you're being stupid. But all these little pivots, add-ons, you're hosting an event, you're doing your first seminar, you're changing marketing. I know people that have been doing direct mail for 16, 18 years, and now they're finally getting into the digital space. Well, if $2,000 a month on ads is going to take down your agency, you're not a good business owner. So to Tony's point, the worst case scenario is not going to end you. So what does it matter? Just try it.
What does it matter? Just try it. Go get your nose bloodied a little bit, come back, let Pete wipe it up your nose with some Kleenex and send you back out there. Piece 100%. Of cake, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yes. So number 4, put it on the calendar. And then number 5, take your first public action in 24 hours. Take your first public action. And what that means is something that creates commitment outside of your own head, right? Public action means someone else is involved, right? And that might be booking the room and going to get that contract signed where now you have a deal with another person, or announcing the event to other people, right? Whatever it might be that you're doing, take public action that starts to put you on the hook, and do that in 24 hours or less. Private preparation, like stuff that you just come up with your brain, like, oh yeah, I'm going to commit to this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to do this, but it's all private. There's no real commitment in that. And that's very easy to abandon. But as soon as you start making it public, making it known, that creates a pressure that you actually have to follow through 100%.
I love that.
Yeah. Is
The
there
first-
something that you've ever done that made you nervous about making public action on it?
This one was crazy. Announcing the summit. I wish I announced 24 hours after the idea. I delayed probably about a week. So see, learning experience.
Yeah.
The last two, though, was announcing I was going off on my own and creating my own IMO with a whopping 12 to 14 people in the pipe. And that was that. And then before that was June of 21. In May, I was at an event. I think Landon was there and a couple other people. And I was like, what's the craziest amount of premium you've seen, like actually issue pay, like for real, on the life insurance side in a month? And they were like, I don't know anyone that's doing like six figures. And I was like, I'm going to do that next month. In fact, I'm going to do 150,000. And then I posted on Instagram from the event, I'm going to do 150,000 next month. Now I failed. I wrote 117, but it was a good story leading into 8% that year. So, but the public commitment, one, the engagement drives you, right? Whether it's love or hate or either one. I'm like, watch this, you fuck. But yeah, put it out into the ether because it's very easy to lie to yourself. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this.
All day long, buddy.
Yeah.
All day long. Dude, Brandon Clegg in the comments says, I'm hosting a financial literacy social in 2 weeks. I've completely funded the entire thing by myself, and there's nobody here to help me. This is a great call. Wish me luck. Go kill it, Brandon. You're
Hell yeah. That's amazing.
You are going to be just fine. Have fun with it. So again, number 5, man, take public action. Get someone involved. Post the training. Send an email. Order the mailer, right? Invite your prospects. Book the room, whatever it might be. Something that involves someone else holding you accountable. Number 6, execute before you feel ready. And this is the most important point, and this is the whole premise of the show, is execute before you actually feel ready. And I said this at the beginning, agents or people in general often think that confidence comes before action. I have to have the confidence before I can do the thing. No. Confidence comes or is a result of action that's taken. Like even if I were to go into that room and vomit on myself, which I know is not going to happen most likely, so I have to watch my diet for a couple of days to make sure. That's still not going to crush me. That's still going to create some confidence. Well, at least I had the confidence to stand in a room of 40 people that all, probably collectively had $10 million and puke all over myself. It takes a lot of moxie to do that. Not everybody could do that, right? But you get confident by making calls. You get confident by taking action, by presenting seminars, by closing conversations, right? By running the process. That's what creates confidence.
You also can't get better until you start.
Yeah.
There's no improvement until there's execution. So like my first one was really bad. My slides were terrible. Like it was just not good. Like looking back. And there's probably been 24 tweaks to the process over the last 2-3 years, but you can't make improvements until you actually do. So
absolutely
figure it out, fall on your face, and then make it better.
Absolutely. One of my favorite examples of this is actually with my wife, Grace. If any of y'all have seen, granted it's in Spanish, so I know some of you probably aren't paying attention because you don't speak any Spanish, but just go glance at her YouTube channel one day and go find the oldest video and then look at the newest video and look at the difference. The only reason she can create content the way she does now is because she was willing to suck in the very beginning a little bit, right? When the very first video, actually probably the first 10 videos we did for her to create content on her channel as she got into the business, were all teleprompted because she didn't know shit about shit. So I had to teleprompt the entire thing. Like she barely could, Medicare, Medicaid. I'm still confused on those. Like, so I had to teleprompt the script, put it in front of her and have her read it to create the video. And it worked. And the best part about it that makes this work is that she was coachable. And if you have someone coachable, you can get them through that process of, hey, just take action. You're going to learn. You're going to grow through the repetitions, right? It's like anything else. You will only get better by doing it. And now she's at the space where she doesn't even need a teleprompter. She can just grab her phone or whatever she wants to do and start rattling off any video that comes to her head and make it really solid content. But she had to shoot 650, probably 1,000 videos over the last 5 years to even get to that space. But if she'd have sat there and been like, oh, I have to know everything before I get on camera. No, like she's never going to get on camera. And when she does, it's going to be even worse. So at some point, you just have to be like, all right, this first one might suck, but the next one's going to be really good. And so let's go do this, right?
I love it.
Number 7, and Pete actually already hit on this. Review, adjust, and repeat, right? Number 6 was execute before you feel ready. Then once you've executed, go back and look at it. That means that you don't just try it once and quit. After the first attempt, you need to review with yourself what worked, what didn't work, where did I get the right response that I'm looking for, where did the process break down, what can I improve, what can I not improve, what do I need to learn that I probably should have learned before, but now I realize that that's a gap in my knowledge. Right. And that's where your magic happens, when you have some trackable, measurable results that you can then look at and be like, okay, let's do this. And Pete actually hit on it early. He said, I just kind of threw some shit against the wall with my first seminar, wrote like 330,000 in rollovers and thought that I sucked. And then I got my commission check and I was like, wait a second. He's like, okay, there is some money here. Let me rework my process and improve it. To now he has a process that has a cadence. It pops. He knows when it's popping. It's going off every time. And he has a very predictable outcome, right? Because he has gone through this process. What are some of the things that you did to review or adjust, or that you realized like, oh, like after you did the first one and you're like, oh, I sucked, but then you got your commission check and you made some money. What were some of the things you're like, I need to do that different. I need to do this, or I just need to do more of that, whatever it might be.
Well, a couple of things was like, obviously you steal slides from the internet or topics from other people and whatever. And one thing that I did was after your first one, like copy and paste, but make it yours. It's your talk. It's your jokes. Now I tell the same friggin' stupid jokes every time. Tony saw it two days in a row. But like tweaking the process to make it your own is important, because you're talking to, let's say in the case of seminars, 30 people a night, 40 people a night times 2. Like you got to feel comfortable doing that. Plus creating a process that was way more, my first like 7, all educational focused. And there was no fucking punch, call to action, sales, lingo within the presentation that forced them into being terrified enough to chat with me. So I made it more terrifying. Like, I'm a good salesperson. So make that applicable in your slides. Don't just bore them to death with definitions and all this other bullshit. So those were very helpful. Also tweaking the process of how they got dinner, when they got dinner. Now I know, and this is a little nugget for everybody doing seminars, during Q&A, I go around and I put my head on the table and I say, do you have any questions? Why? Because it's endearing for the woman spouse, and the guy doesn't feel like there's some 6'3" fucking monster standing next to him being like, you got any questions? And he's like, no. And they're like, okay, great. I'll go fuck myself. So it's like these little tweaks throughout the process that make it much, much better. And even still, we're fucking around with new ideas. I did a women's only event, a men's only event. I did a brunch. I do dinners. I did a lunch, just to see which one has the most bang for your buck in terms of ROI. And also, it gets boring. Like, I don't know if Tony has told you this. I've probably told you this. Like, there's a lot of money in the mundane in our industry. And like, it's just boring as fuck to do that presentation 2 to 3 times a month, every month. So tweak the environment, tweak the presentation, tweak your scripting, tell a different joke, whatever. But just know that a lot of big money comes from doing boring shit month in and month out.
Yeah, absolutely. Money's in the mundane, repetitious stuff that we have to do. That is definitely this game. Because, I mean, and this is similar, but a little separate old adage, is that your success, or the amount of income that you make, right, is directly related to the size and frequency of problems that you solve, right? And that tells you right there, like, oh, there's repetition going on when it comes to making money. And then I just have to solve these problems. And insurance is often a very boring problem, maybe depending on how you look at it at times. Sometimes it can be exciting. So, all right. So we went through that. I'm going to hit those 7 again, and then I have another little checklist for you guys. And then we're going to talk some more stuff with Pete. But again, 1, identify your idea. 2, define a revenue producing outcome. Create your SMART goal. Create the minimum viable version. Put it on the calendar immediately. Number 5, take public action. Something that can hold you accountable in the first 24 hours. Execute before you feel ready. Rinse, adjust, and repeat. So with that, there is another little question checklist if you're not sure. Pretty simple. Number 1, what is the opportunity? Be specific about it. What is it? For me, the opportunity was to expand our business with Advanced Market to encapsulate more services and increase our overall revenue. Fairly simple. What is the desired result, right? When it comes to seminars, appointments, premium. How much premium am I trying to write? How many referrals am I trying to get? Pete's doing his new BNI thing. We're trying to get 2 referrals a month right now, right? At least to get it rolling. Whatever that is, what is the desired result? Make it measurable. 3rd, what is the first physical action you can take? Is it a phone call? Is it an email? Is it a booking? Is it a post, a meeting, an invitation? And then 4, when is it going to happen? Number 5, who needs to be involved? Is it a team member, a mentor? Is it a vendor? Like Pete told me, he's like, hey, you need to call Jen over at Leading Response. She'll take care of you. She needs to be involved. I called her. Boom, got it done. Number 6, we talked about this a little bit. What could stop me? What is the most likely obstacle that can stop you? And I think in most cases, you'll find out there really is no obstacle that can stop me that is likely. There's a bunch of unlikely shit that could happen, probably won't happen, right? What will you do when that response or that obstacle shows up? How are you going to measure it? What are the activity and results? 9, when will you review it? And the most important one of this list of questions, number 10, what is the next iteration of this idea? Now that you've done it once, what and ultimately when is the next iteration of this idea? So if you write it down like a formula, it looks like this. Number 1, learn. Number 2, decide. Number 3, schedule. Number 4, act. Take action. That's the most important part. Number 5, track it. Track it. If you don't track anything we're doing should be trackable, period. If you can't track it, it's garbage. Next is adjust, and then finally repeat. So learn, decide, schedule, act, track, adjust, repeat. Pete, I am super excited about your event coming up. Why don't you take a moment to tell us about it, and then I will make sure everybody is aware that we have some discounts. If you haven't booked your ATIC ticket, and I know there's a lot going on, but if you haven't booked your ATIC ticket, we've already got the link in the group. I will tell you that you can use the promo code Tony with the Y, Tony, Tony 10, the number 10, Tony 10. I'll put that in the group as well. And it should already be floating around, but we'll add it to this thread. That will get you 10% off on your tickets. Tell us about your event a little bit.
Absolutely. So we're focusing on the 4 main pillars of the industry, which is mission, mindset, marketing, and sales. So everybody that's in the event is also within the industry, besides one special guest. If you guys watch PE Guy online, he's been featured on ESPN and CBS and Fox News. He's a content creator and has blown up. So he's going to be there doing a fireside chat with me to talk about personal branding. So he's one of the special guests that are outside of the industry. Everybody else is in it. So we got our main man, Tony Merwin here. We got the great John Wetmore. We got Bruce Weinstein. We got a couple other panelists, and we got the real Brad Lee coming in for a keynote as well. So mission, mindset, sales, and marketing. It's either 2 or 3 days. If you want the elite ticket, which is all food included, speaker dinner, and our golf outing, I would come in the day before. Me and Tony are obviously playing. We got about 7 spots left, I think, for golf. It's almost sold out. Still, though, GA and VIP, it's as low as like $250 to get in the room. And still, your breakfast and lunch is included. I wanted this to be very obtainable, to fill the room, get a bunch of people in there learning. It's at the Hotel Dallas, which is about 4.5 miles from 3 different beaches. So if you want to bring the family, there's also a nice pool. You can have stogies on the outside patio. It's going to be a good time. So either 2 or 3
boardwalk area too.
Yeah,
right
huge
there by the
boardwalk,
Dallas, which is really nice.
It's right downtown. Me and Tony have probably been to like 50 industry events collectively since we've known each other. And the most important thing, besides obviously the content and the after hours events, is the ability to get to and from the fucking place. So if you fly into Wilmington, and unless you want to gallivant all over the place, you don't need a vehicle. You take one Uber from the airport to the hotel.
And it's close.
Yeah.
Like that's like a 12 to 15 minute Uber ride.
That's it. You're downtown. Everything is walkable. Every event is going to be in the host hotel besides the elite speaker dinner event, which is 1 block up. So everything is walkable. So it's going to be the most convenient event you ever go to. But it's going to be jam-packed with content. We're going 9 to 5 day 1 and about 9 to 4 day 2. And if you want to stay after, we'll probably have after hours stuff and things going on for Labor Day weekend.
Is that Labor Day weekend as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah.
Man, I'm excited. I can't wait. This is definitely been an event I've been looking forward to. What is something you mentioned some of the topics: mission, mindset, marketing, sales. What do you think is what can people expect from the content?
So we're going to go in order, right? If you don't have a purpose within your business, in the morning, first day, we're going to be talking about whys, goal setting, momentum. Why the hell are you even here at the conference? And then, so that's your mission aspect of it, right? You need a purpose to start your agency or even to get a license. Like, why do you want to do financial services instead of slinging cars or solar or whatever, right? Then mindset. What happens when ultimately things do blow up? I've had hundreds of thousands of dollars in roll-up debt. Tony's had experiences that were negatively impacting his career. When you fall into that valley of despair, what do you do activity-wise in order to get out of it? So day 1 is going to be a lot of mind shit regarding the industry. Day 2 is tangible results of sales processes and marketing. So I'm going to be talking about my $1 million sales process, the actual scripts, actual presentations, who to market to, when to market to, how to market to them. And then you're going to see our ROI track of ATIG over the last 5.5, 6 years of what we spent marketing wise and how the revenue basically doubled every single year thereafter, and what really worked and what really didn't work. And then I'm going to put together basically an implementation plan for you at the end of day 2 of how to knock the socks off of Q4. So it's going to be very hands-on. We have a lot of Q&A sessions throughout, so the audience can ask questions. I want you guys extracting as much like knowledge, yes, but tangible things that you can implement with your business when you go home. And the nice part about the dates is you basically have 20 days to plan for the best Q4 ever. So if it's a marketing plan, it's booking a seminar, it's scheduling direct mail, it's teeing up meta ads or YouTube content or whatever, you have that 20-ish day span leading into October 1st to have the best Q4 you've ever had in your life.
Dope. Actionable items. That's what you're going to teach. Things that they can take. Isn't that what we're talking about in this episode?
So
actionable. How that congruently goes together like that. Well, awesome, man. Well, listen, dude, I appreciate you taking some time. If someone wants to catch up with Mr. Pete Fournier, it's probably easiest just to find him on Facebook. But you tell us, what's the best way to connect with Pete?
Yeah, at Peter J. Fournier, literally anywhere on social. So I answer all my own DMs. So shoot me a message. If you have questions about the summit, let me know. As soon as you book your ticket, you'll also get a discount code link for the Ballast Hotel for the room block. Nicest hotel in town. It's still only like $189 a night with our discount, which is sick. And then you'll also get an itinerary from Holly and the team explaining the schedule outline of everything. If you don't get the elite ticket, no worries. We have a bunch of referral relationships locally for banging restaurants, coffee shops, all that good stuff too. We want to make it easy, but shoot me a DM anywhere that you can. TikTok, Meta, YouTube, whatever.
Awesome. Man, thank you again for stopping by. Remember, guys, Tony 10, we put it in the comments. Pete dropped it in there. Use Tony 10. That'll get you that'll shave off 10% for you on those tickets. Other than that, we look forward to seeing you there. Take some action on it, and we will go blow it up together. Thank you all again for tuning in. Thank you again for stopping by. That's Tuesday Training. We'll see you next week.